Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to take a look at Carbink, XL Carbink here actually, which is going to be ranked number 3 on PvPoke, but basically nobody is using it. And so we're going to take a look at this Pokemon today and why you maybe want to use it actually. We're going to have an interesting team here because we're running the Trevenant, which is a rare Pokemon to be seen as well, not as rare as the Carbink, even though Carbink is super high ranked. And also we're going to run a different variant of the Lantern here. We're going to run the Water Gun variant, which we're going to talk about why as well. And how much I liked it, I'm not too sure about the Lantern to be fair, but it was still okay. But yeah, anyway, we're going to take a look here today at the Carbink. Carbink is a Pokemon that is super highly ranked on PvPoke at rank 3. But if you even take a look at the number 1 spot on PvPoke, it's going to be Registeel, a Pokemon that you barely ever see. And this is kinda similar thing that happens for the Carbink now as well. Why is that the case? Kinda clear actually. And the thing is, Carbink, as well as like Registeel, has an insane amount of bulk, has great coverage, and beats quite a lot of, basically it beats every neutral matchup. But if we then take a look at the current meta that is available, you see quite a lot of Pokemon that just beat it. So like PvPoke rankings are basically the best Pokemon compared to every Pokemon. So like Carbink beats a ton of other Pokemon, beats like basically everything that's outside of the meta. But if you take a look at the meta currently, it's mainly Mudboy Pokemon, like Lantern, stuff like this, basically stuff that all beats both the Carbink as well as the Registeel, and so that's a little bit annoying for this Pokemon, but still, it is still very, very good. Like I have to say, like this Pokemon was actually really good. Like I have to say, this team was also a lot of fun, and also I lost a lot of leads here today. Like I lost a lot of leads and still came back from it just because also the sales up of Lantern, I guess, was still kind of decent in the things that it was supposed to do, which I'm gonna talk about as well here today. But here, as you can see, the Charizard did not really appreciate the Carbink, and we can move on to the next opponent. So, next opponent, we're going to lose our lead. What do? We're going to swap out immediately. We're going to have the Water Gun on Lantern, which is going to be a little bit better for this matchup. But also, the Carbink is actually fairly okay against the Gligar. It's not really the biggest issue as well. But also, this team is kind of cool in terms of we are a lot of times able to get a shield advantage with our Lantern. We are also a lot of times able to put the opponent to farm run range for our Trevenant. And this can definitely work out pretty much in our favor like most of the times here. Because as you can see, the opponent is still going to be forced to go for a charge move against me. I kind of want to now go ahead and go back into my Carbink, though not into my Trevenant, because I have a ton of energy, and Carbink is literally a wall for anything here. The typing is great. Rock and Fairy is a great typing. Also, kind of question for you, what kind of typing would you like to see being viable in the current meta, or like in general in PvP, that is currently not really viable? For me, it is Water and Grass. Like you have Ludicolo, which is pretty bad sadly because of the moveset that it currently has. And otherwise, I think you have like the, like I don't know how actually how the form is called, but like there's like one legendary Pokemon currently from the new generation that has like the Ogapon it's called. But like it has like a Wellspring Mask or something like this. I'm not too sure. That is also going to give it the Water and Grass typing, but otherwise there are basically no Water and Grass type Pokemon, I think, in like not Pokemon Go, of course, one Pokemon is not in Pokemon Go yet, but in general in Pokemon, and so I really wish that this type would be a little bit more viable. But we can move on to the next opponent here. We're going to see here again another Gligar. So like we had so many hard words in our lead, which we were still all able to come back from. In comes here the Lantern from the opponent again. Not an ideal matchup, but usually you're going to be able to get quite a lot of energy advantage prior, which is going to allow you to do one thing. You're going to be able to force a shield from the opponent, as they're going to be able to reach the Thunderbolt, like basically at the same time as the opponent should have been able to do it, but we're going to be able to outspeed them because they had the energy lead prior. And so this is forcing a shield. And this is going to be crucial because now we're going to be able to get some energy with our Trevenant. Going for this charge move here, I was not too sure if I really want to do it because, yeah, you kind of get less farm now with your own Trevenant, but I also didn't want to get hit by too many charge moves. But as you can see here, they denied my fast move, which is lovely. Thanks, game, because this is not how it's supposed to work. We're still going to be forced to, I guess we can maybe, yeah, okay, I'm actually going to let this move go through here as well. But we're going to be able to get some extra energy, which is great. We have to still try to reach another charge move or try to swap out in time. But they're going to be able to reach the aerial ace here. I can go for a Seed Bomb, which would not knock them out, but would get them insanely low. And so the opponent decides to go ahead and use a shield. I can swap out into my Carbink, they swap out into their Annihilate. And this is actually kind of great. And this is like the benefit of having Carbink here over something like a Bastion. Even though I have a similar role, you're going to be able to be better against those fighting type Pokemon, as we have the access to the Moonblast. Moonblast is coming through, Moonblast is going to be able to connect, Moonblast is going to knock them out. And the opponent actually decides to forfeit. I feel like they still had some play here, but they decide to just give up at this point. Next opponent, we're going to have here the Skarmory in the lead. This is going to be okay for us as well. Honestly, Skarmory can be a little bit tricky in some scenarios. I do get this as well because like Carbink is double weak against the steel typing, but also Trevenant is going to be weak against the flying type moves. But here we were able to catch a move onto our best answer for this Pokemon, but I'm totally happy about this because we got to get actually out here the Gligar, which is hilarious because the opponent did not expect here, I think, that we were running Water Gun. As we can see here, we're going to be able to align ourselves, which is really important for us. But also, like basically, Skarmory is not the biggest issue for this team. The charge move energy can be completely walled by our Carbink in the back, and also still Trevenant can win the matchup against Skarmory. I just decided to swap out because I know that they would like basically throw the energy quite soon, and so I was able to catch the move there as well for my Lantern. But like, again, like it's still going to be a decent matchup. Here we're going to get out with a ton of energy as the opponent has a Dragonair in the back. I can go for one Thunderbolt. Dragonair runs the moveset of Body Slam plus Awkward here. You know what is great about this moveset? It is getting completely walled basically by our Trevenant. And so what we can do now is we can swap out. I'm not scared about the charge moves. They swap out into the Skarmory, but they have to catch now a Shadow Ball from us, and this is going to be basically it for this game as they have nowhere to go, and Trevenant is going to be able to just clean up this game without even showing the Carbink in the back. Next opponent, we're going to have a pretty bad lead again. Like honestly, like this team was functioning pretty well against a lot of very bad leads for this team, which kind of showcases that the Pokemon that we are running here are all very good on their own as well. Here we're going to see the matchup against Dragonair. You just kind of want to stay in and go for the Seed Bombs with the IV spread that I have. I can go for 2 Seed Bombs, which is kind of nice because we're going to be able to get 2 shields from the opponent. Here's one benefit of running the Water Gun over the Spark on our Lantern. You have way more pressure in the 2 shield scenario just because like 1-turn moves just going to be better for pressuring opponents. And as you can see here, I'm just going to let everything go through. I don't really care too much about my Carbink. I kind of want to win this battle with 2 shields on my own Lantern. And so they're going to have a Bastion in the back. And this is going to be a great matchup because we have the fast move of Water Gun. And they're going to have a Medicham in the back, a Pokemon that I did not really expect too much. But let's see how this is going to work out. And I have to say already, I was counting the moves. I was knowing that the opponent is going to be at 8 now, so I decided to use a shield. Could be something important, and it's going to be an Ice Punch. And I make a little bit of a crucial mistake here because I CMP tie on them here. Because I honestly forgot that the Medicham is actually not even that crazy bulky. Like the Lantern is bulkier than the Medicham. I thought I would be able to just knock them out beforehand. But this extra damage that the opponent just took, and also most I would have been able to just go for a Surf, is actually going to be important because as we can see, we are barely going to miss out on another Surf. And so this battle is going to come down to if we can go for a Moonblast here, which I doubt that we're going to be able to do so, but we're going to see here anyway. Stone just coming through. They are not going to be able to get to the Moonblast, and sadly, like this, we're going to lose this game. I would have won this if I played better against the Medicham, so like this was definitely a loss that was on my own and like not really the team itself. So next opponent, look at this, great lead, isn't it? We're going to swap out immediately again. So basically everything that you see here so far are lead losses, which is kind of good for you to see. You know what's also good for you to see is how you play against a Lickitung, because if we're going to land this Thunderbolt with a Water Gun as a fast move, but also a Spark as a fast move, we're going to be able to get them into a range where I should be able to force realignment, especially if they're going to go for the Power Whip, which takes more energy than, for example, the Body Slam. And so what we can do is we can just go for the Surf now. And for me, as you saw the lead there, I really need to get my Carbink on this Pokemon because Carbink completely walling that thing. And so I will be able to go for another Surf, gonna get them low. I can use another Shield here, and I hopefully it can just farm them all the way down, but let's see what the opponent is going to try to do. They swap out into a Sand Slash. This is horrible for us. We can try to catch a move. I try to catch like the, what's called the ground type move there, the Drill Run on them. Didn't work out, but at least I can still take the Ice Punch here, get them a little bit lower. I can go for a Surf, get the final shield with this most likely, and still the opponent makes a crucial mistake here. They stay in for a little bit too long. They could have went for a charge move way earlier already, but they decided to overfarm by quite a bit, which allows us to do way more damage against them. And so now they can only go for one Drill Run against our Carbink. Carbink is not like a Bastion double weak to it, it's just single weak to it, and we see it already what kind of effect this has. It does not even do half of our health, even though they're with Shadow and going for a very hard hitting, super effective charge move. And as we can see here, this is a lovely matchup for our Carbink. Carbink completely destroys the opponent's Mandibuzz here, unless they would run Shadow Ball, which nobody is running because it doesn't make sense on this Pokemon. Like basically everything else is going to be resisted here, and as you can see, we can just go for the full farm down, and Carbink just now is going to be able to completely destroy the entire opponent's team. We're gonna knock out the first Pokemon, we're gonna knock out the second Pokemon, and we're gonna knock out the third Pokemon back to back to back in just a few seconds with our Carbink. Good game there, no way to get through this Pokemon. Next opponent, we're going to have a very interesting lead here. We're going to have the Dugong. This would be better if you have Spark as a variant of your Lantern. Honestly, in hindsight, you can run Spark on this Pokemon. Like, you can definitely run Spark on the Lantern. That might be better than the Water Gun. Water Gun is fun. Like, Water Gun definitely has some unique play as well, which we already saw before, where it could have really worked out well for us. But the way we are playing it here, not all the time is like the way that you kind of want to have it. Like, it's not always going to benefit from having the Water Gun as a fast move, but here we're going to be able to get the opponent to a range where they're forced to go for a charge move. What I kind of want to do here is, because I know that they had 10 fast moves already, I'm going to swap out into my Carbink as they're going to get the boost. It doesn't really matter too much, as the Night Slash is going to be resisted, barely does any damage, I can just farm them down. I'm going to be in a decent spot, but we have to see what they have in the back, and here I am going to encounter a Pokemon that is going to be a little bit tricky for us. It's going to be the Poliwrath, and I make a mistake here. I sure went straight for the Seed Bomb. If I went straight for the Seed Bomb, I had such a better play for myself. Because basically, if the opponent goes into their Dugong again, I would be able to just go ahead and, yeah, like either get the shield anyway with the Seed Bomb, or like I'm gonna get damage against the Poliwrath, or they swap into the Dugong where I get also damage before. And as we can see here, one Seed Bomb was just barely not enough to knock them out. And so sadly, I'm going to forfeit this game as there was nothing I could have done. Look at this. Basically, we actually lost basically every lead here today. Like, it was showcasing here how good this team can be, even though you lose everything, which is kind of wild. So again, a showcase just on how good this team can be. And honestly, Lantern is perfect for the Carbink in the back as well. Lantern is able to bait out Grass-type Pokemon, which you don't really want to face. Or like most other Pokemon as well that you don't really want to face, like Ground-type Pokemon you usually can bait out. And that's also why I kind of wanted to go ahead and go for the Water Gun, because against Ground-type Pokemon, you're just going to be a little bit better with it. But as you can see, the opponent goes ahead, goes for a charge move here. It's going to be the Surf going to knock me out, but I can get a ton of energy. And this happened all the time with Trevenant. Basically, Trevenant was the Pokemon that was able to help us getting into a position where we can flip here the very bad lead advantage for the opponent. So here we're going to be able to go for the Shadow Ball. Let's see if the opponent decides to let this move go through or use a shield. They decide to use a shield. Can we catch a move here? We can catch the Aerial Ace onto our Carbink. And with this, it's going to be a great matchup for us. As the opponent decides to swap out into the Medicham, we're going to have a matchup here that is actually very favorable for the Carbink. As we have the super effective Moonblast, it doesn't really matter that our fast move is going to be resisted here. This is going to connect, going to do a ton of damage, and we can just take whatever they have here. If it's going to be a Dynamic Punch, it's going to two-shot us most likely. It is going to be a Dynamic Punch, but can they even reach another charge move? They can. So if they're going to knock me out, it might still be a little bit tricky. But as you can see, we still have our Trevenant, we have a Shadow Ball that we can throw against the opponent's Gligar, and Gligar does not appreciate a Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball hits so hard from the Trevenant, and as you can see, we can farm them down and win this game. Final battle for today. Look at this, another lead loss. Like, I think actually we had like a lead loss in every single game today. I'm not too sure about it, but like literally I had to, I think, swap out every single game here today. So it kind of showcases on like how strong this team can be even when you lose lead. So it is really, really good to play. You're going to see Registeel coming in, a Pokemon that I kind of did not really enjoy to see here. But I try to go for the Thunderbolt, they make a great play and go for a shield, which I'm actually kind of okay with. Like, I actually don't really mind. And you see something interesting here from me as well. They're going to go for the Zap Cannon, they're going to get the attack drop, which is fine. I go straight for my Surf. I don't really care too much about it because, as you can see on the right side, I just want to swap out. I just want to swap out as soon as I can into my Trevenant, and like this, we can take any kind of charge move. And against the lead that we just saw, we can just go for any kind of charge move as well, because like it's going to be neutral against them. But here I make a crucial mistake. I decide to go for the Seed Bomb, and if the opponent is going to let this move go through, it is going to be very bad for us, and they decide to let this move go through. So I'm forced to use a shield here, try to go for the full farm down, but at least we can still realign. Issue is that Registeel is going to be tough to beat with the Carbink in the back for us, so we have to rely on our other two Pokemon. And we have to rely that the opponent has something in the back that I can deal with the Trevenant. Honestly, I make maybe a mistake here by not going for a charge move, but my play here basically was to try to swap into the Carbink while the opponent is still switch locked into the Azumarill and hope they can get a charge move off, which I cannot. The opponent swaps out into the Registeel. We have to go for the Moonblast, but honestly, look at the damage output. This did way more damage than I expected, and so we can go for the full farm down against the opponent's Registeel. So Carbink is a Registeel counter confirmed. Zap Cannon doesn't matter, we can still get quite a lot of damage against them. They're gonna go back into the Azumarill, and at this point we have 2 Seed Bombs stored against the Azumarill there as well for our Trevenant, and as long as they're going to knock me out here with a Play Rough and not basically get a free fast move in, we should be fine. And they do knock me out with a Play Rough, and like this, I can go for a fast move, I can go for a Seed Bomb, I can go for another fast move, and I can go for another Seed Bomb, and they have nothing they can do against me. And so as long as it's going to knock them out, we're going to be able to win this game, and it does. And so this is going to be it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. This team was a lovely, honestly, Carbink super underrated. Hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, feel free to leave a like, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.